Good morning and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I'm Razzle11 and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Going to take a look at the pitching for today, the 13th of April. It is Sunday. We do have a 10-game main slate ahead of us. A lot of pitching options, to be honest. But as always, this is a first look at pitching. And for those that apparently don't understand what first look means, I will not be going in depth on every pitcher. I'll just give you some background on what I see initially as I look through it, looking at some of the odds, some of the weather going on, etc. Trying to find a way to trim our pool down. And today is going to be a tough one for us to trim down. There are a lot of names, a lot of interesting spots, a lot of games with low totals. I will be looking at DraftKings as that is where a majority of my action is. If you do play on FanDuel, I would cut my pool into a half or even a third. Don't have to be as creative. Pricing isn't quite as tight, but it is going to be tough to trim it down. I will not lie. My initial run through, I wrote down 11 names. The 11th name is kind of a shot in the dark, but for sure 10 names that I'm just not sure I'm going to be able to eliminate from. If I do, it'll be painful, just because there are spots that are positive that I just might have to get away from. But that's what we're here for. We're trying to find the guys that are giving us the best chance at taking down a GPP on Sunday. So let's just jump right in. Looking over at some of the odds here, game lines, we're going to see 7 of the 10 games have totals of 8 or lower on this slate. Uh, one of them here, the Philly St. Louis game, I could see going to 7.5, but it is at 8. So, um, the Twins Tigers game probably could be at 8. Both offenses aren't the greatest right now, so I would not be shocked there. Toronto, Baltimore, 8.5. That might be the place to go for offense, as gross as it seems, or this Houston LA game as well. But man, just a lot of 7.5s, and even 8s. Very interesting spot. Looked at some weather before I jumped on. A couple spots where wind's blowing out. It's always intriguing. Uh, Out in New York, but it's going to be cold, but still it's out to right in the short porch. Does that mean we have to eliminate Webb and Rodon? I'm not really sure. Rodon certainly volatile enough, but still, both pitchers in that matchup are capable of being the top scorers on a particular slate at any point in time. Strong winds blowing in Chicago. This is an intriguing spot, obviously, because Chicago, the White Sox, rough offense, Boston striking out a ton. Blowing in Baltimore, nothing too special. Technically blowing in Miami, but that doesn't really do much for me either. Cincinnati, a park that we like offenses in, blowing across the field. Plus, we have Hunter Greene in a spot where I think Hunter Greene could show up and do some damage. So, what does that do for us? Well, when we look into pitcher props, we're going to see a lot of strong pitchers with K props at 6.5 or 7.5. What that does for us makes it tougher, like I mentioned. Um, we can start here at the top. Zach Wheeler. St. Louis not been striking out as much as you would think, given the weakness of their lineup overall. Wheeler's K prop is 6.5, juices on the under. He is the most likely to earn the W of all these starting pitchers that we have at minus 115. Not even plus numbers. He's a minus 115 to earn the W. That says a lot. His Oats prop is the highest on the slate at 18.5. I initially, when I first looked at this, thought I was going to end up fading Zach Wheeler. Now looking at all the props, Philadelphia's a minus 192 favorite. I'm not sure that I'm going to get to the fade Wheeler train now. The more I look at it, however, he's going to fall behind the next guy on the list for me, Garrett Crochet. Uh, Gotta love a good narrative. Really wouldn't call it revenge unless he's got revenge on his mind from last year and how they kind of treated him, etc. But taking on the White Sox team, just a great spot for him to absolutely dominate. His control hasn't been ideal to begin the season. He did have the one strong start against Baltimore. He's up over 100 pitches in each of the last two starts, which is crazy to see considering he wasn't extended at all last year. Um, Very interesting spot. That Toronto team in the last start, they're super patient. Boston had some errors, some underruns, etc. It's just going to be a smash spot for Garrett Crochet. And as we talked about, what wind blowing in, I believe. Um, yep, blowing in 16 miles an hour, strong enough in that spot. Big number, K prop 7.5, juices on the over. He's minus 110 to earn the W. 110 has the second best earned runs prop on the slate at 1.5. A minus 245 favorite are the Red Sox. Game total of 7, juices on the under. Lowest total on the slate. Garrett Crochet is going to be the number one guy for pretty much everybody around the industry. Now we get a matchup between Sale and Shane Baz. Sale and the Braves are minus 130 favorites. Sale's plus 140 to earn the W. Baz is plus 235, so that's a big difference between the two. Both have K props at 6.5 with juice on the under. I like Sale. I'm just not sure that he's overly sharp right now. He started out that Philly game strong, kind of fell apart. Strikeouts decent, but still not the Chris Sale-esque style. Mid 80s in pitches, all three starts. Some questions there. Obviously, we know this ballpark has allowed some runs to begin the season. It is a minor league ballpark. It does happen. It's going to be warm there. Probably the best hitting environment without taking pitching into account. So it's going to be tough to get there on Sale. I think he's in play because he does have the massive upside, but still a lot of question marks. On the other side, Shane Baz, a strong start to the year. Decent last time out. Walks were an issue. Atlanta, dangerous offense, but they can be had from a strikeout perspective. I haven't updated my numbers, but going into Friday, Atlanta had been striking out 26% of the time against right-hand pitching. Shane Baz probably a sneaky play, but there are other guys that we're going to spend on, so he's going to probably be overlooked by the field, which means I might like him more than a name like Chris Sale on this particular slate. Hunter Greene standing out. A guy that I believe the last couple of years his numbers at home have been very interesting. His K numbers skyrocket at home, uh, but he gives up more hard contact because of the way he pitches 2 strikeouts at home. With that said, he's been great through 3 starts. 104 pitches last time, nearly a complete game shutout. Extra day of rest coming into this. He has the best earned run prop at 1.5, and the juice is on the under. His K prop's at 7.5 as well. Juice on the over. And the Reds are minus 198 favorites. He does not have an earn the win prop yet, but I would assume it's going to be very close to minus, if not minus. I think he's going to be very similar to Crochet and Wheeler in those numbers, and we get him at a discount. It's going to be really hard to not be there. That Pitt offense is not really performing all that strongly. Trying to look at my numbers quick. I don't see Pittsburgh in front of me right now for their strikeout numbers, but just going to have to go with Hunter Greene. Cole Ragans taking on a team that doesn't strike out all that much, but he has back-to-back double-digit strikeout performances. He's throwing the ball extremely well, like extremely well. Wind is blowing out in Cleveland. It is going to be cooler, but blowing out is a little worry. But the nice thing with him being left-handed, Cleveland probably won't have all that many left-handed hitters, and the ball does not carry quite as well for right-handed bats in Cleveland. So Cole Ragans going to be in play for me because his earn the W prop is at plus 115 at opening. So that's a pretty strong win prop, considering there are a lot of slates where the best we were looking at was 140 or 150. So to have quite a few guys that blow that number away, it's going to make it a pretty interesting pitching slate spread out. You're going to have to really nail it. But the nice thing is I think you're going to have a few options to come away with nailing that pitching combination. Rodon and Webb taking on each other, cold weather, wind blowing out. Slight wind, but still wind blowing out. Very interesting spot. Rodon, super volatile. We know that. Can give up home runs, walks, etc. Can pick up some strikeouts. I do not have San Francisco's K's versus left-handed pitching in front of me. That's something I want to dig into quite a bit at this point. Rodon plus 200 during the W. The Yankees are minus 122 favorites, uh, but Webb's props are slightly better than Rodon's across the board. Both have K props at 6.5 with juice on the under. Webb coming off a dominant start at home in Cincinnati. He's one we talk about a lot. Him pitching at home is far better than him on the road. He did have a strong start on the road against Houston. He's been 97 and 100 pitches over the last two starts. So things have trended up for him. We know that the Yankees can strike out. They can have some struggles, but also we know that they can hit a lot of home runs in a hurry, especially at home. And then you add in some slight wind blowing out. It is an interesting spot because I think they did perform pretty well in a game against the Brewers where it was kind of cold in New York, but they're still able to hit some home runs. So, kind of when we think about that, Webb might be a borderline play, which is weird because generally we're not eliminating strong pitchers like Webb, but on a slate like this, maybe we need to. Jose Barrios, probably not somebody I'm going to make. I didn't really write down any of his props. His last couple starts have been strong. Walks are still there. K's weren't there last time, and that was tough to see considering it's a Boston's team that's striking out plenty right now. Baltimore did light him up for 3 home runs to begin the season. Obviously, don't really like to see that go on here. If I remember correctly, he was much better at home last year. Obviously, the numbers this year, early this season, are much better on the road. Kind of scrolling down, a couple more names that I'm definitely interested in. Casey Mize, one name that stands out because of the way that he has thrown the baseball. Strong performance against Seattle, and then a really strong one against the Yankees in a spot that we probably weren't expecting. Low to upper 80s now in pitch count. Probably still just a 6 inning guy. Does not have an outs prop yet. His K prop's just 4.5, basically a pick 'em. But he's been at 6 Ks in each of his first two starts, and we know that the Twins lineup just isn't overly strong right now. I'm gonna have to get an updated Twins strikeout number on right-handed pitching. The lineup they had on Friday struck out just 16% of the time against right-handed pitching. I will bet that tomorrow's lineup or today's lineup has a much higher K rate against right-handed pitching. That offense has been so weak, and obviously look at weather. Wind is blowing out in the 60s, but still, it's not amazing hitting weather in Minnesota by any means. A name that's going to surprise people that kind of stood out to me right away, Shane Smith. His debut, a little erratic. Walks were the biggest issue. Bounced back against Cleveland, a tough Cleveland squad on the road, and absolutely looked dominant, not giving up many hits. His stuff looked good, strikeouts, etc. Now he's taking on Boston, who's striking out a lot on the season. It is a very interesting spot. Game total of 7, juices on the under. Smith doesn't have any props yet. I expect him to be out in the morning, so we want to take a look at those. But he's somebody that's sneaky enough to me that I might include just to be slightly different. But it's also tough to include him on a slate where we have so many pitching options. So it'll be tough to, I guess, finalize the last couple spots. Povich, not really interested in him against Toronto. I don't really like mediocre pitching against Toronto at all. But kind of looking, Cal Quantrill gets a Washington team without C.J. Abrams, but I'm just not overly interested in Quantrill, even though he looked good against Atlanta. I just don't think we need to go there. Woods Richardson, not really somebody I like just because he doesn't have a ton of K upside. So there we have it. There's the first look at pitching. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell on, get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. And if you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc., I'll put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's R-A-Z, for 10% off monthly. And as always, best of luck, everybody.